Yes, Sam, I was wondering, watching the film, those young defensive linemen that you had to play on Saturday, did any of those guys stand out how they played?
They all played really hard. Obviously it was their first opportunity to play in a game, and they all played very hard. There wasn't a lot of mistakes in there, but um, I don't know. There wouldn't be anybody stand out from the game.
Trey Biddy.
Hey, Coach, I was curious if there's any change to the status of Jalen Catalon being suspended for the first half Saturday.
No, you can't review those. I mean, once it's goes under review, if you have the appropriate amount of tape for their viewing, then whatever their call is, then it stands, and you can't petition that. You can't. You just live with it. It's what we were told. So he'll be out for the first half of the Missouri game, and video review should be able to get those calls correct. And so that was the feeling of video review, that they have ample time to make the correct call on the field.
Scotty.
Hey, Coach, what did TJ Hammond show you on his 2 explosive plays, and is that something maybe he can build on these last couple games?
I think it can. I mean, he made a really nice catch across the middle, and then he made a nice nice run out of the backfield, and we've always known he has speed, and we're proud he made those plays.
Sorry, is he saying Bob?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's real faint. Or maybe I'm just deaf. Lou Holtz told me one time he thought I was deaf when he didn't like a question. Sam, you obviously were missing a lot of guys for COVID and contact tracing. Do you anticipate having any of those guys back, or kind of where does all that stand?
No, our numbers are no better than what they were Saturday, and obviously we have 3 tests this week. So no, they're not any better than what they were.
Nikki.
Coach, after watching the tape, what did you think of the offensive line play, and do you feel like they're progressing at a rate that you're happy with?
They were, yeah. I mean, yes. They did not play particularly well on Saturday. LSU did a nice job of rotating safeties, and they basically had a safety to the point of attack outside, and basically there was no place, everything had to be stuffed back inside, and they were doing TN games, TT games inside, and we were getting picked, or we were on the edge too much, and we got whipped. And before that game, I thought we were progressing, and we'll come back. But no, it wasn't one of our better games up front.
Nate.
Yeah, Sam, I wanted to see if you could comment on Reed Bauer and Calvaruso, their punting and kickoff, and just the special teams in general the last game.
Well, Bauer did a really good job punting the ball. He gets rid of it. He did a nice job. Had a good average, not a lot of return yards. So Vito, I believe he kicked every kick out of the end zone. So he's certainly playing with more consistency. We have to field punts. We have to put somebody back there that's going to field the punt. And you can look at it however you want. We lost 39 yards in letting the punt land. And whether we return it a yard or not, if we just catch the ball, that's plus 39 yards. So we have to get our punter in the right position, and our returner in the right position, and we have to catch the football. I mean, that's on that. On the block field goal, we stepped inside and we hinged. We don't teach that, and we did for whatever reason, and the guy came off and he tipped the ball. So we are getting better in some aspects of special teams, and we didn't play well in some aspects.
Tom.
Hi, Sam. I did want to ask you about kind of scouting report on what you expect out of Missouri, both sides of the ball, but also clarifying your quarantine guys. Is there a way that they can test negative 2 or 3 times in a row and get back, or is there a mandatory period they have to be out?
Well, yes, they can, but the ones that have already been in positive COVID have tested positively more than one time. So it would be today's results that we would be able to test tomorrow and the next day and possibly, get them back out. But that hasn't worked out very well here. It's the tests have been very accurate. So to think that that's going to happen, probably it won't, because the past says that it hasn't. Missouri's very physical on both sides of the ball. I really like Trey Williams. I like their D-line. Nick Bolton's probably as good a linebacker as there is in the SEC, probably in the country. Rakestraw and Gillespie and those guys in the back end are playing very physical football. Defensively, they run to the football. Nicholson had one heck of an interception to seal the game against South Carolina. They're very big, very physical on the offensive line. They like to run the ball. Coach Drinkwitz does a great job of keeping you off balance. But if he can run the ball on you, he's going to turn around and hand it off a lot like Tennessee did. Bazelak is getting better each week. Young freshman quarterback, and then Roundtree is a very, very solid, tough, physical runner. They've done a nice job with their transfer portal outside with their wideouts, junior college wise and transfer portal. They've got some nice wideouts as well. Very, very well coached. He's done a nice job over there, and very good in special teams. Just a really, really good football team.
Jordan.
Hey, Coach, can you speak a little bit to what makes Catalon, Morgan, and Poole such good tacklers specifically, and then what they mean to the defense, just being all over the field at all times?
Well, they're all kind of a little bit different in their tackling styles. Catalon's a cut tackler. He'll come in and, he likes to cut you around the knees, around the ankles, and as Coach says, just come up with the leg. We're pulling them. They have to physically pull, and Morgan they have to physically take on blockers and then take on a runner that's usually squared up coming downhill on them. So they're more chest-to-chest tacklers and things of that nature. We work on tackling Jordan all the time. And so it's certainly helped them. I think they've become better tacklers as the year's gone on as well. But it's something we do, at the first of practice every day except when we're not in pads.
Otis.
Coach, at the end of Coach, I know about the numbers on the COVID stuff, like the one center and stuff, but at the end of the day, who makes the final call on if you have to play? Does Arkansas make that call, or does the SEC, Sam?
No, the SEC makes it. We tell them who we have exactly to the number. We tell them how many we have at quarterback, how many we have at O-line, how many we have at D-line, and how many we have as a total scholarship number. And then they make the decision on whether we're going to play the game or not.
Jason. Hey, it's Alyssa. So question for you, Coach. You know, I know this is a big game for Barry. What kind of vibe are you getting from Coach Odom right now as he approaches this and the feelings that he has, obviously, going back to Missouri?
I think, you know, he played there. He's alumni there, was a head football coach there, recruited a lot of the players, probably the majority of the players that they have there. I think he has a lot of love for his former players, and at the same time, he's, you know, the University of Arkansas is paying him. He wants to do a great job for Arkansas. I'm sure there's a little bit of mixed feelings, just as I had playing against Georgia. But the bottom line is that Barry's a competitor, and he will certainly have our football team ready to play.
Coach.
Sam, I was wondering how Jaylen has handled the last few days. I mean, have you had to talk to him at all? And also, how do you balance kind of practice this week knowing he's not going to be able to play the first half?
Well, you have to get somebody else ready, you know, and he has to be ready as well. So, you know, obviously we're just going to play, you know, Slusher and Mason and, you know, whomever that we normally would. I think Slush went in for him the other day. So just knowing that he won't be able to play in the first half, and we'll be able, we'll get them ready, and really not a whole lot of difference than what we normally do. What was your other question?
Just how is Jaylen handling it all mentally, knowing he's not going to be able to?
I called him on Saturday night, or text with him and text back and forth, and you know, he's fine. I sought him out in the locker room after the game because, you know, I think in his mind he did 100% everything correct on the play, and so that's got to be hard, you know, when you're trying to do the right thing and you're ejected out of the game, especially in that critical time, and you miss the first half of another game. It's got to be very difficult on him, and we just want to know that we support him in every possible way that you can.
Trey Biddy.
Yeah, Coach, I guess we don't know when some of these guys tested positive. Do you expect to get anybody back from defensive line or Rakeem?
I don't know, Trey. I mean, there's so much going on, man. I mean, with the test and with injuries and with concussions, and, you know, there's so much going on. Can we get a guy or two back? Sure. You know, I think the timeline has been that we could possibly get one or two guys back. But then you've got to look into injuries, into yesterday's test and all those things. And certainly our numbers aren't any better than what they were Saturday.
Bob.
Hey, Sam, obviously you mentioned Barry, but, you know, Sam Carter and Brad Davis are going back to Mizzou too. And just wondering what you think about, you know, their thoughts or emotions or whatever along with Barry. And obviously they know that personnel pretty well. How maybe can that play into your preparation?
Well, we've obviously talked both sides of the ball about personnel, you know, with Barry and with Brad and Sam, and I'm sure they want to win. I mean, you know, it's like anything else. You're a grown man, and you want to do the best job you can, and in any game. But, you know, heck, I've played teams. You know, when I was here at Arkansas, and we went back and played Tennessee, and I had, you know, been let go at Tennessee. It was a big deal. And I don't know. You'd have to ask them, but I'm assuming that it'll be an important game, just like all of them are.
Tom.
Sam, I have a Thanksgiving question for you. How does the the Thanksgiving Day play into your practice schedule for the week? We have a nice team meal revolving around that. And I'd like to think that folks in Arkansas, when they gather around on Thursday, whatever groups that they can, that they'll probably give thanks that the football program is winning games this year. And I wonder from your perspective what you'll be thankful for on Thursday.
God dang it. That was pretty special right there, buddy. Well, I'm thankful to be the head coach at Arkansas. I mean, I'm thankful for my staff. I'm thankful for the fans. I'm blessed. I'm thankful to our players. I mean, my Lord, been a pretty good year for me, you know. Along with Thanksgiving, we're going to practice fairly early on Thanksgiving Day. Then we're going to let them, you know, for the local guys, hopefully they can take some of the guys that aren't local home to their house, or they get together somewhere and have Thanksgiving meal. We'll certainly provide that for them. And then we'll probably let them off the afternoon and evening, and then we're going to leave a little earlier than what we normally would. We're busing to Missouri, and I'd like to get there a couple of hours earlier than we normally do when we fly, just so the guys can kind of get in their room and relax a little bit. It's obviously an early game on Saturday, so that's really the routine. The kids that don't have someplace to go, they can certainly go to our coaches' homes. You know, it's so much different because of COVID and the virus and all those things that, you know, as much as you want to have a heartfelt, warm Thanksgiving with your players and all that kind of stuff, it's very, very difficult. You know, everybody understands the situation, but when you have players over to your house and you're having to sit 6 foot apart and wear your mask the whole time, it's not quite the, you know, feeling that Thanksgiving normally is. That's the times that we live in right now, and we'll do the best with that. But we want to show our players that we love and we care for them, and we're certainly want to do that every single day, including Thanksgiving.
Last one, Alyssa.
Sam, I want to ask you about Jalen Berks. Got over 1,000 yards receiving on Saturday in 18 games as a sophomore. And I saw you a couple times go over and talk to him and congratulate him on that touchdown catch that he had. But just being around a guy like him, and I know we've asked you about him before, but just the continued impress that you get with being around him and being able to coach him.
Well, he's such a wonderful person, just such a wonderful kid. You know, he has a special skill set. You know, he's big and big hands and those things. So I was just trying to encourage him on Saturday. And then the next series, after some encouragement, you know, he went out and caught a great slant pattern and was instrumental in us scoring. And, you know, our situation here, and it's not only him, we have to continue to be a good practice team. I think as soon as he becomes a better practice player, I think he'll even become a better player. That's nothing that we haven't talked to him about. And that's not a negative. That's just, you know, we have a lot of guys that have to become better practice players. We are, but for us to reach where we need to get, we've got to have a little bit more urgency at practice.
Thanks, Coach. That'll wrap us up.